good afternoon from Bolero Euless practice session for the PBA Players Championship here, kicking off the 2026 PBA Tour Champion Craig Elliott, and PBA Hall of Famer Tom Hess, and our fans out on YouTube watching today. Welcome in to what we're going to sit back, relax, watch a little practice here for a little bit. Tom, Dual Patterns Players Championship, first tournament of the year.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I love the fact that we're kicking it off with a major, kind of like NASCAR. We just watched the Daytona 500 this week. They kick off the season with their biggest race of the year. Well, why not the PBA kick it off with the Players Championship, one of the 5 majors on the PBA Tour?
I forgot Daytona was on. I was watching Olympics. So, but yes.
You didn't miss
out with the major.
You didn't miss much. A lot of people are calling it the Prius 500 as they drove around at half throttle trying to save gas. But, you know, it is what it is.
Schedule for the week. Practice now. Pro-Am tonight at 6 p.m. Full Pro-Am, it sounds like. Big house going to be packed with all sorts of bowling fans and bowlers, pros with that Pro-Am. Tomorrow, Tom, is when the action starts. 11 and 6 the next 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday. 6 games on Viper, then 6 games on Badger, then 6 games on Viper, and 6 games on Badger. And we'll cut the field down to 32 for the true dual pattern, 1 pattern on each lane for that advancers round on Thursday at 6 p.m.
You know, Craig, there's one thing that's a little bit different about the way they do that. Normally when they do the dual pattern events, they would have bowled 12 games on Viper and then bowled 12 games on Badger and then made that cut. I personally love the fact that they're going to bowl 6 on Viper and then 6 on Badger and then go back to 6 on Viper and 6 on Badger. Doesn't allow a guy that is really, you know, let's just say lined in on Viper, but, doesn't know if he's going to struggle on Badger to get out to that huge lead and bowl 12 games on. If I were to look, I would think the Viper, the shorter pattern score is probably going to be a little bit higher on the Viper. But it's the best bowlers in the world. They're not going to be scared of the 50-foot pattern. So
apparently some guys are going to throw urethane on the 50-foot
well, it sounds like it. Sounds like one guy's going to try.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see if he's doing that. And I don't know what actually they have the graphics up on our screen there on the monitors, which pairs have Viper. You can't see those at home yet, and which pairs have the Badger on them. But yeah, when we talked to Ben Robinson, who led the PTQ, he said, see if you can't trick his urethane on the 50-foot pattern. We both look like, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This one's on you, Tom. You asked that question. So, but you know, hey, it is what it is. Whatever works. Knock down the pins however you can. And the leader at the end of it all will be our champion. We'll have another new champion. Last year's winner, Ethan Fiore, got his first title, and it was a big one, the Players.
And then, Craig, we were talking about how sometimes when they do these multi-oil patterns, they do every other pair? And it looks like they did them in groups of 4. So that could be something to pay attention to tomorrow morning when we get to it. You know, the patterns that all have the Badger might be a little bit tighter.
Sure.
Than the pairs that are going to have the Viper put out and twice. So
you said you kind of like the idea of doing it like this. Do you think it's going to be more consistent scoring then, maybe a little higher overall, because you can get lined up on a pattern and then take care of business instead of, like you were saying earlier, hey, I'm bowling great on Viper, I got nothing on Badger. So every other frame you're struggling. And that affects what you do on your good lane, right?
Well, what they would normally do, Craig, I think you misunderstood what I said there. Normally they would bowl all 12 games on Viper in one day and then come in the next day and bowl them all. Yeah, my personal preference for the whole event, let's put the Viper out on one lane and the Badger out on one lane and do all of the whole event that way. But this year they've decided tomorrow morning we're going to bowl 6 on Viper and then 6 on Badger. And it's going to keep the field, in my opinion, a little bit closer together. It's a big topic when we do the World Series of Bowling, years ago when Cheetah was such a high-scoring pattern that they put it out first, and it kind of skewed the scoring pace, because so many people would go out and just bang Cheetah and then they'd hang on. Well, they're not going to be able to do it here. And as I said, I don't know whose idea this was, Tom Clark's, Tony Lanning's, Neil's, the whole PBA as a collective. I like it. It's going to cause more variety. It's going to make the guys be on top of their game, and it's going to make them think a little more.
When I thought back to was when Norm Duke won his back-to-back titles a few
Correct.
years back. They were both dual patterns. Both events were dual patterns.
And the whole event was dual pattern.
Right. So we talk about patterns. How about the Viper? Here it is.
As you can see, 37 feet, 25.5 for the mils of oil. Slightly offset. I think this is going to be a pattern that the guys are going to get. Normally when they get into these 35, 6, 7 foot range, the best bowlers in the world go out and get them and bang them pretty good. I think this pattern is going to play very similar to what we saw this morning. We bowled on a 39 foot. I think there's going to be a lot of urethane in play early on this pattern. And the guys are just going to migrate their way across the lane. Ratio, 2.65 to 1. For the best bowlers in the world, that's moderate. You know, that's not hard for these guys. And fire oil, so a little bit more hooking oil.
And what's your memories of bowling on Viper? How they play and what scoring pace?
That Viper is normally one of the higher scoring patterns. And as I said, I mean, basically when I'm recapping, it's what I remember from bowling on it is starting out a little bit further to the right. You guys are going to chase it left.
So 31 and 32, these guys are on Viper. Same for 33 and 34. Yeah, some guys on the old Badger. We'll take a look at that pattern here in just a second. You got Nate Garcia out of the PTQ, Riley Patton, Tyrell Ingles out of the PTQ.
Stu Williams. This one now, I'm going to be honest, I haven't looked at the graph yet, but this 50-footer, I think we could see guys doing multiple things. I think we could see some guys try to play the gutter. You know, keep it in front of them like, you know, a Norm Duke probably would on this pattern. I think we could see some guys try to play right in the middle of the track and play a little bit straighter. And then I think we can also see some guys further to the left as we take a look at this Badger 50-footer. 10 more mils, 50 feet, 35 mils, softer ratio. Basically 3 to 1, 2.91 to 1, both with fire oil. What's going to make it interesting is that little speed bump right about, 14 to 18 feet there. The more you see those wings down at the end of the pattern, my opinion, that brings speed control into play.
So why not just get inside that and not even worry about it? I mean, looking at the picture.
Yep, that's what I said. I think there's going to be guys that are going to try to attack them from right. I think there's going to be guys that are going to try to get just to the left of that first little wing that you can see. And I think guys are going to play in what I would call, the Christmas tree part of it, and start 15 and left. So it could be interesting watching the guys go across the lane. As you can see, Riley Patton already in there. He's trying to play 25. Look at Nate, that's right up about 12.
Well, the one thing we know with these guys, they're going to get out, they're going to grab a bunch of surfers, they're going to try to carve them open and have at it. So we'll have to see once the actual qualifying starts on this pattern, how they really attack them. I don't think we're really going to see people try to break them down in this practice session, but we will see some of that for sure tomorrow.
Yeah, people aren't going to try to break them down in the practice session. The other thing that happens in these practice sessions, Craig, is not very many guys are going to throw spare balls down the lane. So my general rule of thumb when I'm out there on the lanes and practicing, I think about the first, 15 to 25 minutes is really all that really matters as far as trying to get lined up on the fresh.
Well, we're going to take a look at Ben Robinson here, see if he's got that urethane on the 50-footer. And one thing I heard the guys talking about as I was getting ready for this is that the approach has been a little slick. So there's a lot of changing of the heels and soles on the shoes to get it right. So that's something going across the center you have to be aware of as well, correct?
Yeah, and we saw that today. We saw a lot of guys licking their hands and wiping their foot to make sure that they were able to stop. That's a great catch. See Santu.
Yeah, the international guys together with Matt Sanders.
And it's going to be nice. We saw 3 guys win their first title at the World Series of Bowling last year. Rasmus Edvall, who you see here on your screen.
And then he got hurt, unfortunately, after that. He wasn't able to stick around for the TOC.
Yeah, and then Tan Hakim and Darren Ong all got their first titles at the World Series. Another first-time titleist last year, Gary Haynes, your USBC Give Your Wife a Kiss winner. And it's going to be nice that where I was going with that, those 3 international players are here for the whole season. So it's going to be nice to see even more international flavor.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we didn't get to see enough of those guys after, World Series. They made a big bang on the tour, and then, of course, Rasmus got hurt, and I think Darren had another, right? Didn't he? He went and bowled like the SEA Games, or he was committed to something like that, I think, or
the Southeast Asia Games are so important to those countries over in Asia that he did that. The other thing that makes it so hard for those guys is the PTQ process. Man, it's hard to commit to coming over to have to bowl a PTQ to even get into the event. I think if some of them international players were more right into the events, you would see it. That's why you see so many at the World Series of Bowling. But now those 3 players that I named, they're right into the event. They're all PBA Tour champions now. So there is no PTQ process. So it makes it a little bit easier to commit to coming over here and spending the 85 plus days that we talked about. I think technically it's 86 days, you said, from first shot thrown to last shot of the season. And then other guys, I talked to Darren Ong. He's going to be here 88 days before he goes home.
Well, he's another player you're talking. He has to go home after that, right?
Yeah, all of the
90 days they can be here.
Yeah, 90 days they can be here before they have to leave the country for a day, and then they can come back.
That seems kind of silly, though, when you think about it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You have to spend $1,000 on a flight to go get off the plane and get back on it.
Yeah,
but, hey, it is what it is.
And I am not if Warren Eels is watching, Warren can probably
right.
fill us in on exactly what the requirements are. I don't know if that's their particular visa, how they're applying to be in the United States.
Sure.
And I'm not an expert on that.
Well, luckily you're allowed to be away from Iowa for more than 90 days, so we've got you for the whole year, Tom.
A couple of other international players here, but are they?
Zach is not, I believe, right? Didn't he get his paperwork?
He got his paperwork to stay in the
citizenship
States.
to not have to do that visa.
Yeah, they're
visa
international.
dance.
They're Canadians. Those guys
right.
aren't going to give up there.
No, but Zach he doesn't have, he was trying to explain it to me. It cost him a lot of money, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like 10 grand or something, and there was some certain things he had to go through to get, not citizenship, but like a residency type document, whatever that is. So, interesting stuff. Alec Keplinger, one of the guys that we keep an eye on each and every week. Ton of talent, just looking to break through.
There's Nick Russo. Tom's down there, and he was giving me such a hard time. He said that him and Matt were listening when they were driving in, and they were chuckling.
Yeah.
Said that old man can't even get his name right, giving me a hard time. It's easy, and I was picturing Nick Pate. I could see his face. I just could not say his name. Masters champion D. Ron Booker.
Well, if we want to play the name that bowler, we could do that, right? Grew up in New Jersey, shot 293 at the World Series of Bowling. There you go. Matt Russo.
He shot 293?
He shot 293 in Wisconsin.
Okay.
That's how you can remember Mr. 293. That's what you can call him from now on. Simo, Tackett side by side here. And this is, where are they? Yeah, this is Badger. This is Badger. Look and see what pair they were on and look at the screen. 2 plus 2 is Badger.
We mentioned Ethan Fiore, the defending champion, the 2024 winner, Bill O'Neill. 2023 was Kevin McCune. His only title so far. Belmo in 2022, Kyle Troop in 21, Bill O'Neill again in 2020. So Bill wins it every 4 years. He's got 2 more years before 2028 is going to be Bill again.
All right.
Simo, he got it done in 2019. Smalls in 2018. Tom Smallwood. Belmo again. That's Belmo's year. Graham Faw, of course, his first title, 2016. And
something we talked about at lunch is that, and I forgot that, but Ryan Barnes has made the show the last 2 years in this tournament.
Yeah, I made it, of course, at Wichita when he was still an amateur, and commissioners exemptions were given for the Wichita State players to bowl. Ryan made the run to the show, made it last year, runner-up to Ethan Fiore. Can he make it 3 in a row in his hometown? Not necessarily his home center. I was talking to Ryan yesterday to see if he bowled here much, and he said that this place isn't a lot. They don't have a lot of tournaments and stuff here. So they just, he has bowled here, but doesn't have that Barnes notebook of notes.
Well, he knows where to find it. First look at Matt Ogle, Ronnie Russell.
I'm interested to see. You know, Ryan came out with a lot of pressure last year, and in my opinion, handled it pretty well. Rookie of the year, runaway. Somebody didn't vote for him. I don't understand how. Maybe because Darren did win a title, but you know, still, 1 week over a whole year. I don't understand that, but it'll be interesting. Sophomore, is he going to have the sophomore slump? His dad.
I don't think so. His upside is so huge. I think it's going to be just as big year this year.
Well, I sat right here in this booth on Bowl TV, and somebody asked what I thought he was going to be in 10 years, and I said I thought he was going to be the best bowler in the world in 10 years. So, and I've already been talking to him and Dad. I told him, hey man, I got a lot of pressure on you guys.
I mean, with your prediction.
Yeah, I need to. Yeah, guys, I don't like being wrong. I mean, I'm wrong a lot. That doesn't mean I like it.
Yeah, Tom's talking about the our preseason show we did a few weeks ago, where I actually went out for one of my bold predictions. I said, hey, I think Chris Barnes is going to make a major show, and Tom piles on. I think he's going to win, and Ryan wins.
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
Yeah, I was like. I mean, we were doing that, and Craig goes right before me, and I'm thinking, man, I've got something that nobody's going to say. And
I was just trying to get some brownie points and work on my Chris Barnes relationship, and you just, tossed me to the side.
He says Barnes is going to make a major show. I'm like, how can we have the same guy? But then I went a step further, and that was my plan all along. For the first time, it's never happened in PBA history where a father and son have won in the same year. That's my bold prediction.
Oh, that would be absolutely amazing to see that happen.
Chris and Ryan.
So who wins first?
Ooh. Boy, I'll tell you what.
Because if Ryan wins first, I think it puts way more pressure on Chris. Where if Chris wins, hey, he's won before. He's won 19 times. Not a big deal.
I think it's the other way around.
Yeah, I
think if Chris wins first, that puts a lot of pressure on Ryan. Man, I can't let my dad, he's 56 years old, and he's winning, and I can't get a win.
Well, then Mom's going to come out of retirement and win on the PWBA tour.
If she's bowling, she's my pick. There's no doubt about it.
We need to broker that deal. If Chris and Ryan both win, then Linda's got to go back on tour. Sorry.
Speaking of her, there she is.
And you thought you were going to get to retire, Linda. Nope. We just put you back in action. So what are we, 15, 20 minutes or so into this practice session. We do appreciate everybody that's tuning in on the YouTube channel. Don't forget to check PBA.com for all the information on this event. Schedule we put up earlier. The full rosters are there. You can follow along with scores. Make sure you're tuning in to Bowl TV. If you're not a subscriber yet, well, we want to know why. And you have plenty of time to subscribe. You have weekly passes, monthly passes, or just sign up for the entire year. Watch this whole 2026 PBA, PWBA, and PBA 50 tours all year long here on Bowl TV. Lead myself, Craig Elliott, along with PBA Hall of Famer Tom Hess. We got Mike Flanagan coming on later this week. Dave Lamont will be in, I believe, next week or later this season for a bunch of events as well. Of course, Chase Kaufman, Brian Kane, and who else knows who might show up? Spencer Mosier, part of the crew this year. JT will be in this week. Our full crew of Bowl TV players.
Jimmy
And
Callahan,
Jimmy
man. How can you forget Jimmy Callahan?
Saving the best for last. So thanks for tuning in. That's the end of our commentary for practice. The 8 channels will stay live, so you can find your favorite players and watch them over the next, hour and 40 minutes or so. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. right here live on Bowl TV for the Players Championship.
Bill O'Neill, winner, winner, winner. Bill O'Neill advances for title. Indeed. The birthday girl, Stephanie Zavala.
9 to make the show. There it is.
He yelled, "Do it," and he did it. BJ Moore makes the show. 10 is a win for Snodgrass. Title number 6 on the PWBA Tour.
Off his hand, it looks good. It looks good. He's done it. He's done it.